Welcome to the Munchkin Minute, your bi-weekly look into some tabletop gaming news and more. I'm your host, Dan, the Board Game Man, and this is your news for March 17th, 2025. So happy St. Patrick's Day. And sorry this one's a little late. I was at Adam, the Agora for Tabletop Opinionated Minds a couple weeks ago, and I guess it was last weekend, and I came back and proceeded to get nice and sick over this week with a little bit of the flu. I had a really nasty plane that I was on that people were just coughing everywhere. So sorry about the delay. Let's get into some news and some Kickstarters and a little something new that I'm going to do this week. So let's first up, Czech Games Edition, or CGE, has announced the expansion and storage solution to one of my favorite games. All in one there. It's Ruins of Arnak Adventure Chest. That'll be out later this year. Should be about $80 for this. I'll have a link to the pre-order as well. It's got a bunch of different things to it, and it's got its own little, it's got one expansion that they're selling separate, but you can get the expansion with this treasure chest here, or I guess it's the adventure chest, not treasure chest, adventure chest there. So they say you pack all your essentials and explore new areas and Lost Ruins of Arnak adventure chest. This includes an insert that fits all the previously released Arnak content and makes setup and cleanup faster. It looks really cool. I saw a picture of all this, and then again, where the pre-order link, you can see what all this is as well. You can keep all the content in a bigger and sturdier box that this chest is. You can enjoy content from a brand new expansion, Twisted Paths, which is included in this one, which has new and bigger double-sided maps, new guardians, some sites, new assistants, and solo titles previously released as print and play. However, it does not include any other Lost Ruins of Arnak content like the base game, Expedition Leaders, or the Missing Expedition, but it does have all that other stuff in there. And it's a good way because I have all my Arnak stuff stuffed into the the original box, which was pretty big, but after a couple of expansions, it doesn't really have enough room for everything. So this is going to be a really good one to pick up. Next up, Steamforged Games has announced the tabletop version of their massively popular PC games. This is Helldivers 2, the board game. This will be on crowdfunding next month. This will probably be, I'm expecting, since I don't have any Gamefound this month or this week, I expect next month and probably the next few episodes to be Gamefound heavy, because I saw a lot of really good ones coming soon that I want to wait till they're out before I cover them. But anyway, Helldivers 2 will be out on Gamefound probably by next episode. Again, more once it is up on next month's Munchkin Land. This one is going to be designed by Derek Funkhauser, Matt Hart, Jamie Perkins, and Nicholas Yu, a good collective designers. I absolutely love all the stuff that Nicholas Yu has done. I'm not as familiar. Obviously, everybody knows Derek Funkhauser from covering a lot of the board games and such, but Nicholas Yu is a designer that I know and love as well. So Eagle Gryphon has been doing games by Vital Lacerda for a while, and they're a lot of heavy games, but they've been putting out kind of lighter versions of these big meteor games from time to time. Now, this one I want to talk about is they released House of Fado. This is a lighter version of Vital Lacerda's The Gallerist. I'll have a link to where you can order the game. This one's out, and it is $60. And just like a lot of other Vital's games, this one takes place in Portugal, a lot of his games. And this is all, you're kind of running your restaurant and featuring what they call Fado music and musicians as you invite musicians, getting patrons in there, different types of patrons, and critics into your restaurant and your bar area of your restaurant. And you're kind of completing objectives, getting your writing, I guess Fados, as I think they're called, different types of music pieces. And you're leveling up these musicians as they get more experience, sort of in a way, as you're leveling up, as more people come to see them play. And then you're also obviously trying to get the most points. And then you're kind of putting, you're releasing them from your account. You're releasing the different musicians to go play on the street to make some money, inviting them back into your restaurant and such. Very quick, a lot easier. I wouldn't say very quick, but it's very quick compared to like the Gallerist. So it's kind of like a 1 hour wonder or your normal kind of light to medium weight Euro, but it does have that same feel of the Gallerist without a lot of the kind of the extras and kind of things. A lot of Vital Lacerda games are really good. There are a couple that I think they kind of have some heavy elements just for the sake of heaviness. And I know that sounds like a slight, but it's not, because a lot of people that love, like us, that love the meteor stuff, but sometimes you just want some of that meteor feel without kind of the extra bloat or some of the extra length that comes with it, that can lead to some AP for some people. But if you really just want the feel or kind of that main gameplay of it, these lighter versions are going to be the way to go. I absolutely loved House of Fado. It's so good. I played it multiplayer and solo. Solo rules are still good. They're just a little bit finicky to kind of parse. You got to know the game a little bit. A lot of times I'll sit down and play a game first solo. This one I played multiplayer first and then played the solo version, which made it a little bit easier for me to understand. But both versions are very, very good. Let's stick with the musical theme here. So after a successful Kickstarter with Paverson Games, they're going to release Luthier, another game about kind of music and music history. This is a follow-up to their amazing first game, Distilled. This one will go into retail Q2 of this year, about $70 for Luthier. It's another solid game that I've not played myself. I've seen a few demos of it. I've not played it myself, but it's got some really cool kind of worker placement elements with different levels of workers, and then you're kind of leveling up other things that you kind of have, you musicians, that you are using and kind of getting your player powers. It's really good. This one's going to be about 2 hours, 2 to 2.5 hours, 1 to 4 players. And again, a little bit heavier, kind of that heavier, medium weight, medium heavier Euro there, kind of like Distilled kind of was, maybe a little bit heavier than that, but a really cool theme on that one as well. So I teased this one a few months ago that there's a new implementation of Battle Masters from Restoration Games, but they did actually show this one off at Gamma a few weeks ago, and Restoration Games has previewed that Battle Monsters, which is going to go up on Kickstarter later this year. I'll have a link to the sign up to be notified when the Kickstarter is live. And I'll also put a link to the BGG for Battle Masters, the original one, just to see what that one was like. There's obviously going to be a little bit of difference because this one's going to be more of a kaiju battle game, more so than kind of the medieval battle, kind of troops and monster battle games. So the main takeaway for it is that I really loved about Battle Masters is the way some of the groups of units were together. And I guess kind of they're going to be, again, represented by kaiju and Godzilla and King Kong and the other themes. Because the first little one that they're putting out is going to be, I believe this one is going to be, they're going to have Kong versus Mechagodzilla and Godzilla versus King Ghidorah. Those are the different sets they're going to be putting out, kind of like they put out with unmatched sets. So now, anyway, each unit has either one or more cards for their kind of initiative. And then kind of all the kind of, let's say, players and monsters and such, all those initiative cards will be shuffled together, and then they're going to be flipped over one by one, and you take your turn. Now, it's a really cool way, and way back then, when Battle Masters first came out, which was in 92, right? I was still in high school. Way back in 92, when it first came out, it was really ahead of its time as far as the way the initiative system worked. So it's really brilliant. The way it felt organic and both kind of cool with how cruel it is and random and also chaotic, but also awesome and adrenaline pumping. Just waiting for the next flip. Sometimes you can have, like, you play your card, you get to go and then you don't go for a long time, or you get to go twice and then you don't get to go for the rest of the round. But also there's different amounts depending on how powerful each things are. There are different amounts of initiative cards. Like some may only have one if they're really crazy powerful, units, or others may have that are maybe a little weaker. Or kind of like, little daggers out there. They may have 3 initiative cards, if I remember correctly. Anyway, expanding on the success of the base game of Sail, that's card game of Sail. This is a 2-player co-op trick taker. This one was out a couple years ago. All Play has now announced Sail Legacy, which is a newer, obviously, legacy take on that 2-player co-op trick taker. They haven't said a whole lot about it, but a lot of these kind of things were teased. There's a lot of different things that were just teased at Gamma, and we'll see a lot more in the months to come. I just wanted to talk about a few of these little good, cool teasers that are out there. They're going to have a Kickstarter campaign later in the year. They'll have a little bit more details. I'm sure I'll have it here on Munchkin Land once it is announced later. So I love trick takers. I love co-op games and I love legacy games. I'm not really keen on 2-player versions of the trick takers, but I know a lot of people are, and maybe, who knows, maybe this legacy version of a 2-player co-op trick taker will be more up my alley, but we'll see. Well, you see if they can win me over when that campaign does go live. So I'm sure, again, I will cover it once it's up there. Hachette Games is going to release Mythical Dice. Now, this is a version of the original game called Mino Dice by Yellow. They're going to be bringing that over here in the States and kind of an updated one here in the States in May of this year. It should be about $25. Now, I've seen this one in the original Mino Dice form. It's a bit chaotic in nature, a bit random. It's okay for a play. You got to just have hands off, not really sit there. Like, you can't be a player that's going to live or die by every decision, whether you're going to win or lose. I would play it once if you want to check it out to see maybe they're going to, change some of these things. But if you do like unique trick takers and unique ways of doing different things, then I would recommend giving this one a look. I think it's getting some US, I think it's getting hype over here in the US because so many people lately, and I've been talking a lot about Nikosu dice lately, and maybe they're trying to capture some some of that hype for Nicosia Dice, since Nicosia Dice is an amazing dice and card trick taker, but nobody, for whatever reason, has been able to import it or reprint it over here. And I'm wondering if that may be on the horizon, or maybe not, or maybe Mythical Dice is trying to be the first one to take, either be the first or the best at something. And when it comes to dice and trick taking, maybe they're trying to be the first one to grab that dice as tricks kind of gimmick. So we'll see. We'll see how this one does and see what it's like once it does come out. Before we get into crowdfunding, I wanted to follow up on my trip to ATOM 2025. That is ATOM. That's the Agora of Tabletop Opinionated Minds. This was put on by Queen Games, Inside Up Games, and Eagle Gryphon Games. I met so many great content creators. I wanted to give everybody, all the spoilerites out there, a weekly intro to a couple of people that I met. Pretty much every show, I'll cover 2 of them. So you might be able to catch on with some new content creators that are great and I think you might like. So I'm going to give you 2 each show, and I'll cover this one. The first 2 for today. First one is going to be Nerd Incorrect. This is a cool Twitch channel who does Codenames Live. Now, Tim Reel hosts this 2-on-2 Codenames each week with a regular cast, and also a kind of a newer cast, which are guests and kind of returning guests and such. It's great to watch. It's not safe for work just because of the language and stuff, but not that anything else to worry about. Just if you're not keen on language, just that's it. But it's a great watch. It's hilarious. Tim is an amazing guy. I absolutely love this channel. And I think you'll enjoy it if you enjoy kind of watching things like this. So Codenames is a great game anyway. If you haven't played it, you really should pick it up. But watching this one is really cool and real fun. Again, Tim does an amazing job there. And second creator for today from ATOM is Tabletop Vibes. This one is a YouTube channel doing some great reviews, unboxings, and top 10 lists, and a lot of great content. I got to hang out a ton with Adam and Steven from the channel, and they are an absolute blast. Adam's very much like me. He's an Omni gamer with a love for everything from Euro games to TCGs, and they're both extremely enthusiastic and just a cloud of positivity. And I love these guys so much, to be honest. So check out their videos as well. I got to play some Lorcana. Adam does a lot of TCG playing, so we played some Lorcana with Adam. Just a great dude. I think you'll really like kind of the vibes of, obviously tabletop vibes. I think you'll like the whole feel of that channel as well. So hope you enjoy they are our weekly look into some of the content creators I got to meet. And in the next show, I'll bring a couple of more in there. So let's head on over to crowdfunding. So first up, let's talk about Marrakesh Expansion 2, Gems and Experts. Now, of course, no secret, I love to talk all the time how much I love Marrakesh. It was my game of the year a couple years ago, and it is another one of the experiences. It's such a great game. So much fun. It is kind of a medium to heavier weight Euro, but it's great. You'll absolutely love it. It has kind of a cube tower that you're throwing the Keshis, these little kind of cylinders into, and you're doing a lot of Euro goodness. It's a Feld. It's great. Just pick it up. But this one is the Gems and Experts, which is 6 new modules for modular expansions, I guess modules for expanding this one of Marrakesh. And this one you can get for $45, or you can get the other expansions. There's the Camels and Nomads and the Gems and Experts. You can get the 2 expansions for $75, or you can get the base game to add on there. You're going to want that deluxe bundle as well with the expansions and the base game for $160. It's really good. I can't recommend it enough. Marrakesh Expansion 2. Next up, a game we talk about a lot. This is one that I think everyone also should get into. This game was in my top 10 from last year. This is an expansion for Fromage. This is called Formaggio, which is a standalone expansion, or you can get the regular base game Fromage, which is going to be a reprinted here in this Kickstarter. This is a standalone expansion and also the base game. You can get in on this particular one for about $39 for the standard edition or the limited edition, or you can get both of them for $128. I can't recommend this one enough. It's medium weight Euro. It's got about 3 weeks to go. Well funded. I will also, I did mention this earlier, Marrakesh. This one is you'll probably have to get, since I'm recording this one and it's almost over, less than about a day to go on this one. So you'll probably want to get on a late pledge. They almost always have those on these. So you should be able to get on a late pledge for Marrakesh too. But Formaggio, you've got plenty of time to get in on that one. We've got about 3 weeks to go on that one. But the game is great. I mean, you're playing in 4 different, you're almost playing kind of multiplayer solitaire in the game. And the game is kind of modular on almost like a Lazy Susan, and you're kind of getting different pieces of cheese. And depending on the power of the cheese you want to get, that's how long you have to leave things on the wheel. And then after the round is over, you spin it. And then you're doing kind of playing over 4 different mini games, if you would, and trying to really balance how you're doing it. There's also buildings that you're going to be getting, which are a little bit different in each game. If you're playing with kind of this modular expansion, which you really should, because it really changes up the game the right way. And then there's other little things to do it, but check this one out. It's really, really good. Next up, Tiny Epic Dungeons Adventures. Now, Tiny Epic Dungeons was a Kickstarter or a game that came out a while ago. I wouldn't say a while ago, but it was fairly recently, but it was really good, but it was kind of missing just something. I mean, it was good, but you just wanted more. Now, this is that more that you really wanted, because that Adventures brings a little bit more to it, and you can play it standalone and add kind of Tiny Epic Dungeons to it. It's really fun. Of course, Scott Holmes does an amazing job with everything Tiny Epic, and Gamefound Games puts out a great product here in a small box. This is about a week to go here. You can get in this one you can get the kind of the deluxe bundle for $50, and there's always a lot of crap in his deluxe bundles, and it's got Tiny Epic Dungeons Adventures and the Kickstarter limited content, the Phantom Voyage expansion, premium play, print and play content, a lot of great stuff. Or you can just get kind of the base game for $35. These games are always great. They always do a good job, and I really like the original game quite a bit. Again, that is Tiny Epic Dungeons Adventures, well funded, and in about a week to go. Finally, this is something I don't know a whole lot about, but I know I've seen some ads, and the game does look good just from looking at the page here. Alpha Clash Cosmic Conquest. Now, Alpha Clash was a TCG that they had kind of released. It's always hard to release kind of new TCGs, but had a pretty cool universe, good art, and interesting system. Now, this one is kind of more of a skirmish game, which has kind of almost like the CCG mixed with kind of board game mentality, which I always kind of like that. You know, kind of very chill, kind of dice chuckery, not to take too seriously, and just have some good fun with different kind of factions and such. This one is, again, Alpha Clash Cosmic Conquest. You've got about $59 to get in this one, which will give you a little mini expansion and some more. And then there's a 109 version, which is kind of like the deluxe, which will get you a whole lot of different add-ons, including kind of miniatures packs and such. And then there's also a retailer tier. This one looks interesting. So if anybody gets in on this one, definitely let me know. But I do like kind of the look of that one as well. Thanks for joining me today. If you see any news you think I'd like to feature, shoot me a message at GeekJockDan on Twitter. Also, please check out MajorSpoilers.com for more content by Steven and the rest of the Major Spoilers crew. And also check out the Geek All Stars podcast. That's my show. And also, I'm now on Instagram as the Geek All Stars as well. As always, I'm Dan, the Board Game Man, and I'll see everyone in a couple weeks for another Munchkin Minute.
This podcast is copyright 2025 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.